Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Leadership Help Desk podcast, where we discuss all things leadership. I'm your host, your educator, consultant, and coach, Chevy, and I'm excited to have a special guest and friend with me today. But before I invite her to come on the screen, if you're new to my space, welcome. I am Chevy Mack, and I guide women-owned tax and accounting firms to create a profitable, sellable, and scalable business to have the life and business that they want. So let me bring my guests up. Welcome. I have Yanaelle Ntwa, and I probably said the last name wrong, so please correct me. This is my good friend and good friend that I've known for over a year now, and my guest today. And she is the founder and CEO of the Well Poet. She's a brand poet, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you all. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be live with you today for this conversation. It's really a cool opportunity. So, who am I? I am a brand poet, and sorry for the background and the noise,
It's
family
okay.
stuff, people,
It's all
just
good.
walking around.
It's all good.
Yeah, I'm a brand poet, so I write poetry for my clients for their services. I'm taking their brand story to the next level of intimacy. Good morning, Rochelle. So I'm taking their brand story to the next level of intimacy, beauty, exquisiteness, intimacy. I already said intimacy, it's connection, the word that I'm looking for. And that's kind of what I do.
Awesome. Thank you. So let's get started. First, share with my audience, how did you tap into the space of becoming a brand poet?
So I tapped into that space because I was desiring to actually create something around my talents, and I love to write. I really love to write stories. I also love to write poetry, and I was kind of in this beautiful container, business woman container, and we were learning about the art of being a wealthy woman. And what I love about that container is that our mentor that we had in common, she was really, and she still is, very artistic oriented. And so she kind of always encouraged me to tap into my gift, tap into my talent. And so with all those things combined, I was like, why not create poetry? Because I I see that at a certain level, business people are looking to build in their marketing and in their branding and positioning. They are looking to build connection with their audience. They are looking to build intimacy, exquisiteness, beauty. They have all the clients, at a certain level that they need. So the money aspect is working really fine and well. So now they are looking to deepen the connection, the intimacy with their clientele. And so poetry is a beautiful tool to do that. And so that's kind of how I tapped into that.
Oh wow, I love that. And I love how you said the connection, because so many business owners, they're great at making money, which is awesome because we're all about building wealth. But how can a business owner tap into her or his self leadership to connect to themselves first before they can tap into that leadership to lead others using their story?
Yeah. Well, there we tap into the twilight, and I think that's a beautiful way to tap into the topic of this conversation,
Hmm.
because being a good writer, and we work together, Chevy, we worked already in story
Yes.
around storytelling. Being a good writer, being a good poet, being a good leader, it's kind of the same art. Meaning, it's the art of being human, acknowledging our humanity, being accepting of our humanity, embracing our humanity. And from that, we have the capacity to do that for our team. And that's what I love so much about the twilight, because the twilight is that beautiful moment in nature when the sun goes down or the sun goes up. And it's just that beautiful moment where light and darkness merge together. And I feel like, to me, a great leader is somebody that can lead themselves. And it's somebody, because it can lead that. So a person that can lead themselves, that leading comes from embracing the twilight within. When we are
Mm.
able to tap into that, then we are able to create space for our team members and their own twilight. Because we also know from leading ourselves that usually the more we learn to embrace and befriend that twilight, so that merging of the light and the darkness, that's where creativity is. That's where innovation is. That's where those sparking ideas and inspiration that takes us to the next level, that's where they are. So when we are able to walk and dance with that space in us, we can do the same with our team members.
Oh, wow. Wow. That was great. And a lot of great nuggets. So you said the word twilight multiple times. And some of my audience may be like, Twilight, what does that mean? Are you able, you know, are you able to kind of define it in simple terms so when someone listens to this podcast, they can like connect, like, oh man, she's talking to me. Like I need to tap into my twilight.
Yeah. Twilight to me, it's like I said, it's the beautiful it's the wholeness of who we are. We all know that we have those light part of ourselves, which can be defined as kind, good, generous, understanding, compassionate, or it can be your talents also. It can be really those strengths that you have in yourself. The shadow part will be more of your weaknesses,
Mhm.
things that you know that you need to work on, habits that you've been fighting with since you were a child. you know
Yes.
like part of your character that is really hard to really get together. And when you actually can merge that light part of yourself and that shadow part of yourself, you get into that place of genius, which is the twilight.
Wow. Wow. So, as a business owner, it's like the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows. So, as leaders, we're making money, but then we can also be struggling emotionally and mentally
Yeah.
in the low part. Wow. So, how, excuse me. So, how do you support your client tapping into their twilight to create this beautiful poetry that
Yeah.
you create? Because I work with you and I'm just like with the words and I'm just like, man,
Yeah.
I'm like my
So
heart is touched.
that is a really good question. For the clients that I used to work with when I was in storytelling, what I used to do is that I would actually tell them that you need to be with yourself. You need to be present. That's one of the greatest um like non-negotiable practice of a storyteller is to be present. You cannot lead your team, you cannot even lead yourself if you're not present to what's going on within yourself. That's the first thing that you need to do and to really implement in your day to day as a practice, as a ritual, as a habit, whatever word works for you. You need to really learn to be present to what's going on. The second thing is being able to put words to what's going on. Now, yes, a poet, a storyteller get really masterful at putting the right word to what's going on, but as
Hmm.
an everyday person, just maybe take the wheel of emotions and be able to to feel all right and recognize this is what I'm feeling and this is the word attached to it. That's simple practice there. And then the more you can tap into that, the more you'll be able, in regards to storytelling. If you have any business leaders here that is
We
looking
do.
to okay, storytelling, then you can be like, all right, what triggered that emotion? What story triggered that emotion? What environment what triggered that emotion? Where was I? What was going, like, who were the people around me? Asking ourselves all those different kind of questions allow us to be able to paint beautiful context decor for storytelling. Because the big thing, the big secret, but that is not really a secret that the storyteller knows, is
Hmm.
actually we are one. So we are kind of all living the same stories. It's just with different flavors, different characters.
Yes.
So whatever story you are able to feel within yourself, know that every of your team members is experiencing the same kind of level of that story. And so the more you are present to yourself, the more you can hold space and capacity for their own story. So and that's what makes also a brand innovative and relevant and authentic to its client, is actually that mirror effect. It's like when I come into your brand, I see myself, I recognize myself, I feel at home in your branding. So that is kind of what a brand story is all about, and brand poetry is going even deeper into that vein of emotions.
Wow, lots of, if you guys are taking away some nuggets, please throw them in the chat, because I'm just like, yes, you are so on point, because number one, like you shared, it start with the individual self leadership, like being alone. And sometimes many business owners are afraid to be alone because they're afraid of what is going to conjure up, like that low part, as you mentioned. And I remember when I was going through, I was overseas, leading in the military. I was going through a divorce. And honestly, like that was my first time like being alone, like in a house by myself for over the last 12 years. Cause I was, graduated high school, college. Now you're sharing a room. And then joining the military, you're with people all the time. Then marriage, you're with a boyfriend, then you married and you have kids. So there's always people around. So that year was my first year just kind of being alone with myself. And I felt there were some scary parts at times, because now it's like, oh, I'm with my thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm with my thoughts. But getting to know myself is now I'm able to manage those thoughts. And okay, I figure out what I want for myself, for my life, and just, okay, now I'm comfortable being with me, which I think so many leaders need to tap into that piece as well. And you talked about, putting words into that, which creates the brand. So definitely thank you for sharing it. And then connecting it with your team. And
Yeah.
I love how you shared when you were able to articulate your brand, not only but your clients know, your customer knows, but your team knows. So I love that. Love the takeaways. Rochelle says she loves the takeaway.
Amazing.
Yes, yes, yes. So, so great. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. So, as the leader, it's self leadership. We have to tap into it. We have to figure out who we are to show up, fully and authentically.
Yeah.
And you talked about how we can have our brand be able to connect to our team so that we can share in their story. What is maybe one thing that a business owner can do that is simple and easy to really build that connection? Because sometimes business owners have a team, but there's no connection, there's friction going on. But how can they use their brand story to kind of build that cohesive, healthy team to scale?
Well, I wouldn't use if I was a business leader of a huge team. I wouldn't use my brand to connect with others at first. I would
Mm-hmm.
use my humanity first, and
Yes.
then my brand, if we want to play and really be creative there. But I would just be human, actually. Being human. I think that the thing with business leaders is that we think that being leader is being invincible, is being, I have it all together, I'm perfect, I have no issues,
We
no
don't.
tears in my life, no failures in my life, I'm just perfect, I'm
That
born
does not
like this.
exist. That means you're not human then. Like you're just a robot.
Exactly. So I would just be human. I would just show up and really be like, when it's time for me to shine bright, I shine bright. When it's time for me to actually feel like I'm falling apart, I'm falling apart. And of course there are a level of intimacy. You cannot fall apart in front of maybe the person that just hired, like 1 minute ago. But I would really advise leaders to just be honest, transparent, share what's going on, share the story of what's going on. Um, don't go into hiding, because that doesn't solve anything. But be there, be present. It's like be present with yourself and also be present with your team. Realize that actually your team will admire you more through your vulnerability, because sometimes we
100%.
have this kind of lie in our mind that if we are vulnerable, our team will not respect us anymore. I don't think it's true. I feel like most of the leaders in my life, I've admired them even more after a moment of vulnerability, because I was like, oh wow, they're also human.
100%.
They're also human, and they are able to shine like they shine, and they are also carrying, whatever they are carrying in their season. So yeah, that would be my advice there, is to just be human, show yourself, be whole, and you will invite actually your team members to do the same. And that's where the connection happens in your team.
Oh, wow. I love how you just kind of tap into, yes, we want to lead with the human factor, like tap into that human domain. And being vulnerable is so essential to growing not only yourself, but growing a team that feels safe, that feels psychologically safe in that environment to come to you to share. Because I've, over 22 years in the military, I've had a varied of different leaders, good, bad, and some that I wanted to just put my hands around their necks, but I couldn't. But the ones who were vulnerable, honestly, I connected with them on an emotional level. I felt for them. I was empathetic towards them, but they were still strong in my eyes because that's someone that I wanted to follow. That is someone that I would definitely be like, what do you need from me? And I think that is so critical and essential for leaders. Like, stop, like you said, hiding from, you know, the things that maybe makes you vulnerable
Yeah,
in that moment. Yes, we don't want to be vulnerable and crying, every single day in front of our team. That's not healthy. That means you need to really like look within and figure out, okay, what do I need to figure out? But no, connect with your team in the sense of communication. If things are going wrong, tell them, hey, this is what's going on in the business.
yeah,
Because they're going to respect you more. They're going
yeah,
to appreciate more. And guess what? They're going to show up for you so much more.
yeah.
Wow. I love that. X Maxwell said, showing your human was a compliment I received from my COO. I'm present with my team and always in always. Awesome. We
Amen.
have to. We have to, in order to have the business that we want, we got to make sure that we are first taking care of ourselves, but also taking care of the people who are supporting us in that space. Wow. That's awesome. All right. Any additional things you would love to add when it comes to tapping into your brand poet of self leadership and leading your teams?
Well, I'll say that self leadership for me is key. Um, because the more we grow into our self leadership, the more we actually, um, again, we understand ourselves. Having a vision, um, a written vision, and then committed to that vision, building yearly goals, monthly goals, quarterly goals, weekly goals, daily goals, and then walking those goals out. Um, it allows us to actually realize that it's not an always easy journey.
It's not.
And the more we build compassion for ourselves, the more we build resilience, the more we build mercy, the more we build patience, discipline, that's what allows us actually to lead our team. Because when our team is down, we understand what downs feels like. So we
Mm-hmm.
don't crush them even more. To the contrary, we are able to actually remember the moments where we're down. And if we had the time, maybe, and I really encourage any business leaders to do that, build a protocol for when you get down. Know already, if you can are able to be that present to yourself, know also the triggers that get you down, then have a protocol to get back up. And so when your team gets down, you can have that conversation with them. What triggered that down moment? Maybe it was too much workload. Maybe it was too much deadline at the same time. Maybe bad communication. So many things can go there. Assess that and then build a protocol for getting back up. Because I feel like our team, because we are also part of the team, we are
Yeah.
a great orchestra. I come from a gospel background, so I sing gospel. And I love
Mm-hmm.
to take the example of a gospel choir. Whenever you start singing in a gospel choir, the first thing that we learn is that we are one voice.
Yes.
So the goal is not to be like, I'm gonna stand up with my voice and do my little own thing. No, we are one voice. So you need to attune yourself to all the voices in the choir. You have to also know your voice because usually you're part of a group that sing a specific voice. So it's really being able to look at your team like a choir, understand each member, their strengths, their weaknesses, have this protocol for getting back up when we get down. That will help your team. That will help your team trust you. That will help you also trust your team. Also, because we got a little bit in the specifics here, each member is different.
A
So
hundred
you
percent.
might have a team protocol for when we get down and how we need to get back up, but some members in your team might need different kind of adjustment to get back up. Be really attentive to that. Pay attention. But again, that level of attention that you can bring to other is always at the measure of the level of attention that you can bring to yourself. If you can nurture really a good self leadership practice, if you can allow yourself to go through the twilight of that, that's where all the genius and the creativity that I just talked about the team management will come to life. But if you are not willing to actually go through that journey of self leadership, it's really difficult to get there because you cannot lead others if you don't know how to lead yourself.
Preach. Like, it's so true. Like, you cannot lead others. And this is something that I preach, even, when I'm teaching, work, whatever I'm doing, is like, you have to tap into your self leadership. Like, that is key. And part of the self leadership, like you mentioned, is all about how do you become resilient? How do you, build that resiliency to where when life happens, business happen, all the chaos and everything is going on, how do you remain still? How do you remain resilient and strong to get through all of that so that you can be there to support your team and help them to get through all the things that they have going on in life while still trying to support you in your business. So look, wise words, you got a lot of like praise, like Yanaelle, that was such goodness because it starts with the leader.
Yeah,
It starts
always.
with the leader to tap into his or her human being, and figure out, okay, what is it that I need to do? It's like the emotional intelligence of knowing yourself,
Yeah,
managing yourself, and then how do you bring it to your team to where you're able to understand every, not just the team as a collective, but each individual
yeah,
on your team. And that is what makes, to me, an amazing leader. They know
it is.
themselves, but also they know how to tap into different the different individuals on their team.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah,
Like, we're vibing. We're vibing. And I think that is what makes companies successful. When the leader understand who he or she is, what is their purpose, and how can they bring along their team to create this magic, this
yeah.
twilight.
Exactly. That's really that. It's that ability to have then afterwards that capacity to have the conversation to create protocols. That's where your team become the greatest orchestra and masterpiece ever because they actually know how to dance with each other. They have like the partition sheets are clear if you want to
Mm.
stay in the musical realm. They know what to do. Like they feel led actually. And so that's where magic happens, creativity, innovation, ideas, inspiration. And to go back also to the beauty of Twilight, Twilight is not easy. It
Mm.
is not easy at all, but there is a great reward for the one that actually will enter into the night and then will rise with the rising sun. That is the reward actually. And so like I'm like, let us all be brave daily when we are going through those season of twilight because it is not easy, but there is a great reward. That's how life works. There is always a great reward for the brave ones, for the courageous ones. So yeah.
Wow. Yes. You guys, if you're not like motivated, inspired, be like, let me tap into my story. Let me figure out what do I need to figure out, that the things that I need to do. because it's all about, like you said, stepping into the bold leadership of who you are.
Yeah.
Because leading in a business, leading in life, it is challenging at times. We're hit with all these different things that kind of make us question, like, do I want to continue? Do I want to continue with this business, or am I ready to just give it all up? Because there were times when I'm like, okay, I'm just ready to throw this business away. But
You all are.
yes, all of us are. But just kind of tapping back into myself of the impact and the what with the service that I want to provide to the world, with Mac Leadership Academy, because it's not about me. It's about what is the impact that I can make. And I think when you're able to kind of really tap into your self leadership, tap into your, what is it that inspires you, drives you, you're able to like continue to fuel, continue to drive, continue to run that engine, and just kind of make things happen even through the challenges. Going back to the resiliency and knowing that, hey, this is just a bump on this twilight journey, you know, that's all it is. Wow. Well, this was amazing. I think maybe you think differently, but let me know. Yes, and the chat, like, they're loving, from what I can see on LinkedIn, they're definitely, I think they're inspired because such wise words. You know it's, yes. But what is the final takeaway that you want business owners to kind of take away from this conversation?
Well, I had a poem ready for
Okay.
in my mind. I was like, maybe the time, like if the opportunity comes. But it's not a poem from me. It's a poem from the famous poet Rumi. And this poem says, here it is.
Rochelle said, great discussion and very inspiring. Yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So the poem says, this being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an expected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all.
Mm.
Even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
Wow. A lot of takeaways. For
Yep.
me, I'm hearing it just to whatever comes in through in my journey, take it as a gift, a lesson, and just kind of continue on
Yeah.
and treat everyone. It's like it's a guide. I love that part. Like, it's a guide, because this journey that we're on as business owners, as leaders, it's a journey.
Yeah.
Wow, beautiful poem. Thank you. But how can people, well, before we get into that, what is I do this is something that I do in the beginning of my podcast, but I forgot to ask this question. So, what is the one thing that you need to give yourself, and what is the one thing that you need to let go?
Daily?
Or it doesn't have to be daily. It could just be maybe something that, like, I need to let go of this, or I need to just give myself more of this. Is You can put it daily or whenever.
All right. I need to, well, it's not a need. I'll say I'm already from the need that I already know that I have. I am
Mhm.
already given myself um the soul medicine that I give to others, actually, which
Mm.
is beautiful words. So daily, I take the time to give myself also beautiful words, because I give them as part of my business. So um, I daily give myself beautiful words. What do I need to let go of? I'll say I need to let go of the weight of standards,
Mm.
life standards. I think that I'm in this weird season of my life where standards seem to be really important. Um, for people, and like people just having a lot of milestones, and mine are not really there. So I need to be at peace with that, and know that actually happiness is the way we define it. It is not
Mm.
the way that society defines it. So I need to let go of those standards and embrace the happiness that actually fulfills me and that I'm living.
I love that. I love that. No, I think you're right on point. I think so many other individuals, as they listen to this, can relate to what you just shared, because so many people are looking at what social media is sharing. When it comes to what they should be doing in their businesses, in their personal life, and in actuality, what you see is so not reality. So just going back to the self leadership of knowing, like, hey, I'm going to create my own standards for myself. You know, and I love how you share, like, giving yourself more of what you give your people,
Yeah,
because as business owners, we pour into our folks like there's no tomorrow. And then
exactly.
and then when it comes to us, it's like we barely like make time for that. So no, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. How can people work with you?
Well, it's easy. For now, I'm mainly on Facebook, so people can look at the name. I think that our names are appearing on the screen,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So you can capture my name there, put it on Facebook, and you'll find most of my work. Right now, I am working around poetry, like I said. So if any of you are looking for poetry for your services, products, and even sorry.
Evil. Hey, there's some evilness going on, so we need to get those out as well too. So guess what?
Amen. We need beautiful words. The world is really. But so yeah, I was going to say, even if you are looking for art for your store or restaurant, or building, this is also something that I'm tapping into for the summer. So I'm really available. And also for those maybe wondering how they can use poetry, I can give a few examples.
Yes,
If you
please
have a
do.
podcast, for example, you can start with a poem, and with a poem. Your newsletter, also, you can add poetry there. Your website, you can add poetry there. For your branding, packaging, you can add poetry there. So blogging, also, you can add poetry. There are so many ways we can use poetry for people who have stories, maybe, or offices. And you have a big entree, something like that. We can create a beautiful piece of art with poetry. So it's very versatile, and I believe it is long lasting, and it has a really beautiful impact. So, yeah.
Yes, and I will have to definitely vouch for Yanaelle, because I've worked with her. And when I say, like, when it comes to her creativeness and what she creates, like, for me, I'm going to speak for me, like, you feel that, like, you feel the emotion, like, coming out of those words. And like she said, when you go to her Facebook page and you check it out, like, you're going to be like, I need to work with her. Like, I need to work with her. So if you, like, hey, I'm not ready for you now yet, but you know someone who is like needs to have her services, please reach out, because you will not be disappointed. I'm telling you, like, go check out her stuff. You're gonna be amazed. And I am not that friend to be like, yeah, go check it out, and it's like crap. No, I'm gonna tell you, like, she would not be here on this podcast, to be honest. But no, she is definitely the person that you want to work with. Her quality of work, her attention to detail, like, it is beautiful. And like she said, it's not just for one thing that you can use just for yourself. You can actually display this in your home. You can display it in your business. If you have an office, in your blog, in your podcast, it's versatile. So definitely please reach out. Yanaelle, any final words before we close out?
I think I've said it all.
Okay, perfect. Well, first of all, thank you so much for joining me, giving me your time, because she's in Belgium, y'all. So she is international. You're my first international guest.
Yeah.
Awesome. But no, friend, thank you so much for joining me. There was a lot of insight, a lot of takeaways. So hopefully, as y'all are listening on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and in my Facebook group of Mac Leadership Academy, and if you're not in there, go join that group. It's all for women who are looking to create a profitable, successful, and sellable business. So please join me there. But Yanaelle, thank you so much again. I
My
appreciate
pleasure.
you. And you guys, I will see you all. Don't forget to share this podcast with other individuals as well too. And give us a follow. Both of us on LinkedIn for me and Yanaelle on Facebook. And you're on IG as well too, but I know you're
Yeah,
mainly on Facebook.
yeah.
What is your IG handle? Just in case people are like, well, I
It's
don't
the
do
same.
Facebook. The
It's my
same.
name, and there is within brand poetry also, so they'll be able to recognize me.
Okay, perfect. All right, y'all. Well, have a beautiful day and we will see you all later.